The bank called my son 1 hour after breakfast. I didn't hear the words they said to him. I heard the silence. That sharp, airless pause when a person realizes something solid has shifted beneath their feet. An hour earlier, I had still been standing in the kitchen holding a plate of eggs. My name is Helen Knox. I used to think it sounded old. Now I understand it sounds expensive. Expensive in ways people assume, and in ways they don't. The morning wasn't meant to be dramatic. At 6:12 a.m., our housekeeper texted, "Mrs. Knox, I'm sorry, I won't be coming back. Not today or after. No emojis, no explanation. Leah had worked in this house for 8 years. She didn't quit jobs. She endured them," which told me enough. Sarah had been snapping at her for weeks. Not loudly. Sarah never needed volume. She had timing, tone, precision, death by implication. Julian pretended not to notice. That was his specialty. When I asked him about the text, he didn't look up from his phone. "We'll find someone else," he said, shrugging, as if loyalty were software you updated. That was when I decided to cook breakfast myself. Not to prove anything. I just wanted one normal morning. Eggs, coffee, a table where nobody was scrolling. The kitchen smelled like hot oil and toast. That detail stays with me. It felt honest. My hands shook slightly as I cracked the eggs. Arthritis, maybe. Or nerves. Hard to tell at 72. Sarah walked in first. She glanced at the stove, then at me. "Oh," she said lightly, "you're cooking now." "Just breakfast," I replied. Julian sat without greeting me, thumbs moving across his screen. I slid the plate towards Sarah. She laughed. Not a big laugh, a small one. Private. Like she had already decided who I was. She lifted the plate, examined it as if it had personally offended her, and tipped it into the trash. "This is disgusting," she said calmly. "What use are you, old woman?" Julian didn't look up. He smiled at whatever was on his phone. That hurt more than the words. I didn't yell, I didn't cry, I didn't rush to clean up like I used to. I removed the apron, folded it once, and placed it neatly on the counter. "The only trash in this room isn't the food," I said. My voice surprised me. It was flat, clear. Then I walked out. If you've ever wondered what makes a person finally stop trying, it isn't always the insult. It isn't the humiliation. It's the certainty. They weren't being reckless. They were comfortable. Comfortable enough to assume I would absorb whatever they threw away. I went into my study and closed the door. The old wood made a soft, solid click. I sat there for 2 minutes. I thought about all the times I chose silence because it was easier. All the times I told myself patience was love. Then I picked up the phone, and I called the bank. I didn't call the bank because I wanted revenge. That's what people assume. When an older woman finally does something sharp, they imagine bitterness. They imagine drama. They imagine a tantrum with pearls. What I felt was simpler. I wanted certainty. The email had been waiting 3 days, sitting in my inbox like a polite little threat. Asterisk document signed successfully. The subject line was clean routine, the kind of message you swipe away because it feels inconvenient instead of urgent. I had left it unread on purpose, not because I didn't care, because I wanted to see if I was imagining things. Age does that to you. Or rather, people use asterisk age to make you doubt your instincts. They say you're tired, you're emotional, you're misunderstanding. After the trash can, after the laugh, after Julian's smile at his phone while his wife called me useless, I opened the email. It was brief. A standard notice about an authorization tied to a financing package, something connected to Julian's upcoming partnership. There was an attachment, a scanned document with my name at the top and my signature at the bottom. I stared until my eyes burned. Then I zoomed in. I have signed my name the same way for decades, even when my wrist aches, even when I'm rushing, the curve at the K, the pause before the last letter. My signature isn't pretty, but it is asterisk mine. Asterisk. This signature wasn't close. It wasn't shaky. It wasn't tired. It was too confident, like a person performing what they thought a wealthy old woman's handwriting should look like. Someone had practiced being me. I didn't confront Julian. I didn't ask him what it meant. Questions give people room to lie, and I was finished handing him space. I opened my desk drawer and pulled out an old contract. something boring and dated, signed years ago. I laid it beside the scanned document on my screen. 2 signatures, one real, one imitation. My hands were steady now. That surprised me. I clicked through the file details. Metadata, timestamp. Uploaded while I was at my dental appointment. The request logged from Julian's office line. I saved everything. I downloaded. The document, the email, the transaction notes, the timestamp. I forwarded copies to my personal email, then to a secure folder I hadn't touched in years. The one you keep for emergencies you pray won't come. My phone buzzed. Julian. I watched his name glow on the screen and let it ring until it stopped. A few minutes later, he knocked on my study door. Soft. Careful. The knock of a person who wants something. You busy? He asked through the wood. Working, I replied. Oh, okay. I heard the smile in his voice, the assumption. Just wanted you to know things are moving fast, in a good way. That's nice, I said, neutral, boring, safe. He lingered a moment, then added, You trust me, right? I closed the laptop. I've trusted you a long time, I said. He left satisfied. That part still gets me. Not the manipulation, how effortless it was, how he walked away confident as if trust were a switch he could flip with a sentence. I waited 10 minutes. Not for drama, timing. Banks log everything. I wanted the sequence clean. Then I dialed the private number. No menus, no music. A real voice answered on the second ring. Mrs. Knox, Dana said, already alert. Is everything okay? No, I replied. I need to report suspected fraud. Dana didn't interrupt. That mattered. I believe my signature was used without authorization, I said, related to a financing package tied to my son. Her voice shifted into something steadier, more official. Understood. I'm initiating security protocol. Are you requesting an immediate authorization lock? Yes, I said, full lock. Revoke all secondary access. Linked cards as well? All of them. Keyboard clicks, fast and controlled, filled the line. Dana moved like someone trained for emergencies. She didn't ask me how I felt. She asked what I wanted done. Any transfers above $5,000 will now require voice confirmation, she said. From you only. Good. And the pending guarantor consent? Flag it as unauthorized. I'm formally withdrawing my support before the final signature is processed. Stop the funding. A pause. Short. Heavy. That will trigger review notices, Dana warned gently. That's fine. I need verbal confirmation that you understand this may disrupt ongoing transactions. I understand. And you're prepared for contact from affected parties. I am. She didn't say asterisk your son. She didn't have to. Locks are in place, Dana confirmed. Manual review team is alerted. If any access attempts occur, we will call the initiating party. Call them, I said. Not me. Another pause, then quieter. All right. When the line went dead, the room felt different. Not tense, clear. Like turning off a machine and realizing you've been living inside its noise for years. I sat with my hands folded in my lap. No shaking. I poured myself water. The glass clicked once against the counter. Sharp, clean, from somewhere in the house, I heard Julian laugh. Light. Easy. The sound of a man still standing on a floor he believed was permanent. Downstairs, they moved through the foyer, getting ready to leave. I stayed in my study, with the door closed, listening to the echo of their confidence. Sarah adjusted her earrings in the mirror. Julian buttoned his jacket, half scrolling, half nodding. The trash can in the kitchen was still full, my eggs cold on top. Honestly, Sarah muttered, I can't believe she thought that was edible. Julian smirked. She's trying to feel relevant. That word again, relevant, as if my worth was a trend that could fade. He pulled out his wallet. I'll order the car. I heard the tapping of his phone once, twice. Then a pause. Hey, Julian said, frowning. That's weird. Sarah didn't look up. What? My card declined. She laughed like it was a joke. Try another one. He did. His smile tightened at the edges. Sarah's voice sharpened. Okay, Julian, stop messing around. I'm not, he said. He swiped again, slower, as if patience might fix it. Nothing. Sarah stepped closer. What do you mean, nothing? Before he could answer, his phone rang. Unknown number, he answered too fast. Yes, this is Julian Knox. I heard the shift immediately. His shoulders stiffened. "I don't understand," he said. "There must be a mistake." He paced, 1 step, 2. "I've been a client for years, platinum status." Pause. "No, I didn't request changes." Sarah's face drained. She mouthed, "What?" Julian lowered his voice. "Who withdrew it?" Longer pause. "The account holder," he repeated. "My mother." Silence stretched thick and ugly. He laughed once. "Wrong. She wouldn't do that without telling me." The voice on the other end continued, calm and unmoved. Julian rubbed his forehead. "What do you mean the guarantor consent is under review?" Sarah grabbed his arm. "Julian, look at me!" He shook her off. "Hold on!" Then louder into the phone. "No, I need this cleared now. We're walking into a Kauai signing." The call ended. He stared at the screen like it betrayed him. "They locked everything," he breathed. "Cards, access, everything." Sarah stepped back. "You're joking." "They're reviewing the financing," Julian said, "because the guarantor withdrew permissions." Sarah looked toward the hallway, toward my door. I stayed seated. And I checked the time. Exactly 1 hour since breakfast. Julian said my name the way people say please without admitting it. "Helen," he called. Softer now. I didn't answer. A minute later, he came upstairs and pushed into my study like a boy who'd lost his map. Sarah hovered behind him, arms crossed, trying to look bored. She wasn't fooling anyone. "You don't understand," Julian began. "That partnership fixes everything. We're hours from signing." I didn't invite him to sit. I opened a folder instead. Paper, numbers, quiet things that don't respond to charm. "I understand more than you think," I said. He frowned. "You don't know how this works." "I know how leverage works," I replied. "And I know how forgery works." Sarah snapped, quick and bright. "That's a serious accusation." "It's an accurate one." Julian stiffened. I slid a printed copy of the document toward him. "My name, your office line, timestamp. Uploaded while I was at my dental appointment." He stared, jaw tight. "That's confidential," he said weakly. "It's adjacent," I replied, "and adjacent becomes my business when my signature is involved." Sarah stepped forward. "Helen, come on. We're family." I looked at her finally. "Family doesn't forge signatures." Julian sank into the chair with an ugly scrape of wood. "If this falls apart," he said, voice dropping, "I'm finished." "I know," I said. The silence that followed wasn't dramatic. It was practical. Silence that makes decisions for you. Sarah tried again, softer. "You could save this. You could just fix it." "I could," I agreed, "and you'd learn nothing." Julian swallowed. "So what do you want?" I didn't answer immediately. Not because I was calculating, because I was tired. 72 years old and still explaining consequences to grown adults who believed my patience was a resource they could spend. I pulled out a thin ledger and set it between us. "Open it," I said. Julian flipped the first page and I watched his blood turn cold. It wasn't a list of groceries. It was a schedule of private debt. His private debt. Bought and consolidated. His fingers stopped on a line item. This was held by a private equity group in Delaware. "It was," I said. "I bought the paper 3 months ago." He turned pages faster. His personal line of credit, his bridge loan for the partnership buy-in, even the secondary mortgage on his condo. I didn't just know his numbers. I owned them. Julian shut the ledger carefully, as if the book might explode. "You kept score," he said. "I kept records." Sarah snatched it, scanning. Trips, clothes, a spa membership renewed 3 times. Interest noted in the margin. Modest, relentless. "You never told us," she whispered. "I didn't need to," I replied. Julian's voice went thin. "So, we owe you." "Yes." That word hung there, simple, unavoidable. I let it sit long enough to settle into their bones. "This isn't revenge," I said. "It's maintenance." Julian looked up, smaller now. "If you report it, I'm done." "I know." "And you'd really do that to me?" "I don't want to," I answered, "but I will." That was the moment the noise stopped working. The next morning, I met with my attorney. Short meeting, clean language, most of my estate redirected. Charities, education funds, legal aid, places that don't laugh when someone tries to help. Julian received a small conditional safety net, work requirements, accountability. If he broke the terms, it dried up. No drama clause, just facts. I packed one bag and left the house keys on the counter. Julian watched me zip it closed. "You're leaving?" "For a bit," I said. "I need air." At the door, I paused. Not for them, for me. Power isn't money. Money only reveals who thinks they own you. Power is saying no and still sleeping at night. I stepped outside and didn't look back. Forgiveness can wait. Change needs proof, and I have proof.